I just want to make a disclaimer. It is not illegal to have two jobs, okay? But if your contract states that
double the pay, double the stress. The secret life of the overemployed. Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is London Lamborghini. And in today's video, imagine juggling not one, but two full-time jobs, all from your living room. She's mastered the art of working smarter, not harder. But is the burnout worth it? Here's the truth behind the double pay dream.
I just want to make a disclaimer. It is not illegal to have two jobs, okay? But if your contract states that you're not allowed to have another job and they find out that you have another job, you will or you could lose your job. So this is just something to be aware of. If you're not in a position where you're not super replaceable, I wouldn't even venture into this. And if you love your job, I also wouldn't really venture into this if it explicitly states that you're not allowed to have another job. If you can be smart about it, if you can dedicate 100% to each of these jobs, and I know people will say, no, you're not dedicating 100% because you're not working 100% of the time. I don't believe you have to work 100% of the time to dedicate 100% to a job, okay? So if you're not going to do that, if you're not prepared to do that, then honestly, just let it be, because as much as I've said to you that you can make a lot of money, it can be very stressful. I got lucky with the two jobs that I had, but it's not everyone that's going to be able to balance out those two jobs. So I just want to make you super aware. This story is so bizarre to me. As somebody who strongly believes in overemployment, I recommend overemployment to everyone who is able to do it. So I just find it so interesting that people are losing their minds over this woman having three jobs. And from one of those jobs, it sounds like she was making really decent money. But one thing that did not get talked about was what her performance was like. In this entire story, I was trying to find out, like, did she drop the ball on something? Was she just sitting her ass there, not working? And it doesn't sound like that's the case. Like, it sounded like she was performing well. And if somebody has any information that alludes to the contrary, then please let me know. And so the way I see it, the real problem is not that she had three jobs. The real problem is how much this woman was making at her 9 to 5s. Because if she was working for McDonald's and maybe she was also a cleaning lady and maybe she was also a babysitter, nobody would be having these issues. They would actually say, well, that's normal. You should suffer and you should work hard. Work those three jobs, girl. They're upset that this woman has kind of hacked the system that said you have to be at your desk from 9 to 5 and you have to be beholden to one employer. Her problem is that she went and did it in public office, and for that, girl, I don't know what to tell you. That was not very smart. If you ask me how I feel about overemployment, I would say it was great. It was nice to have two paychecks and more disposable income to do whatever the hell I wanted. But if you ask me on a deeper level, I would say that shit was hard. Like, I can't believe I have to say that out loud, because I thought we all had a tacit agreement that when you're working two jobs, it's because capitalism is kicking your ass, which it was. So here's the thing. At any given time, one of your jobs is probably going to suffer. And for me, it was my second job when I first started out, because I just couldn't hack it. Like, I just couldn't keep up with all the demands and the training and just really get into it. The other thing they don't tell you is that you probably will overbook yourself, or maybe somebody else will book you. It doesn't matter how good you are at managing your schedule. You know, it felt very much like cheating, which a lot of you are familiar with. I'll never forget when I was on one call with one employer and the other employer started calling me, like, out the blue, repetitively. No. And here's the thing, even if one of your jobs knows that you have another job, it's still going to be used against you. Time off is not really time off. It's not really a holiday. It's just the privilege of working one job. You probably will be mentally exhausted from having a bad day at one job and a good day at the other job all on the same day. I can't tell you how much I felt like all the characters on Inside Out literally at the same time. You probably will develop a condition from sitting down from 9 to 9, maybe 9 to 5 if you're lucky and efficient. Not even bathroom breaks. You just sit there as if Jeff Bezos is your boss. You also can't talk about one of your jobs ever. Like, it never happened. It was a top secret operation. You went in there, did what you had to, got your paycheck. You also can't put it on your CV. Again, it never happened. I mean, there are upsides and downsides, but here's the thing though, it gave me a lot of self-respect. It was so empowering. I could call out my colleagues for speaking to me anyhow, knowing that even if I lost my job, I would still be fine. It wasn't easy, but was it worth it? Twice a month, yes. Yes, it was. Some of you asking these questions actually have two families, so apply the same principles, okay? So I've always worked remotely, and I think that really helps because as a product manager, I mean, back then I was a product manager, now I'm a chief product officer. Let's get it right. As a product manager, I had tons of autonomy. And I was able to set my own schedule and my own calendar. And one thing that helped was that I was a senior in one of the roles. So I was a senior product manager. And in the other role, I was just a product manager. So when you're a senior, you also get more autonomy. Like nobody's calling you kind of out of the blue. It's very rare that they do anyways. Like it has to be an emergency if they are doing that. Whereas with a junior product manager or just a product manager, I didn't have as much time. Another thing that I would recommend is that you do this only if you have some level of seniority in one of your roles. Like it just makes it less stressful for you. So I had a separate calendar where I merged the two jobs. I didn't actually have to work overtime a lot. Like maybe some days I would do like 2 hours extra, 3 hours extra. The only thing that stressed me out was that some days I would have a good day in one of my jobs and then I would have a bad day in the other job. And that was just such a mind fuck. If you want to build wealth in the UK, one of the best ways to do this is through overemployment. It worked for me. It was great. I enjoyed it. I had two jobs going on for a while, and they were two full-time 9 to 5 jobs. So no, it is not illegal to have two jobs in the UK. It's not illegal to not tell your company about your other job. The only thing is it is unethical if your contract states that you're not allowed to have another job. Personally, I would do it anyways. I was making almost 200,000 at the time, maybe even a little over that. Actually, I think it was a little over that, and I was able to just really do nice things and like really take care of myself, you know, go to nice places, buy nice things, save up for property. If it's something that hasn't even crossed your mind because you think it's illegal, then definitely get rid of that notion. You can absolutely work two jobs. Ashi wants to know, what strategy would you recommend to make the transition from customer success to a product management role within 3 years or less? Girl, you can definitely do it within less, because customer success, I think, is a really great path to product management because you're so close to the customer's problems. It's like you know the customer in and out, you know what the issues are, you know what the features are and what bugs need fixing at any given point in time. So yes, in terms of a strategy though, let's kind of go into the nitty-gritty but without going into too much detail. I will say you have to become the go-to person for the customers, but also for internal people. When it comes to the customers, you have to be very obsessed with the problems that the customers are trying to solve. Ask them deeper questions when it comes to the issues that they're facing. Volunteer to write the tickets. Volunteer to be the person that's like reporting back on 50% of our customers had this issue, 20% of our customers had this other issue, but I think that priorities wise we probably want to fix this one first. Externally, another thing you can do is apply to junior PM roles. So there must be like junior associate PMs. Honestly, I don't even believe in those roles. I would personally just go straight for a PM role, and you just never know, like you might be able to get a PM job that has product management in the title but might not pay as much. You might want to get Scrum certified as well if you have no PM sort of experience. So try and get like a Scrum certification, or at the very least try and volunteer to work with the developers in many different ways. So if your company has triage meetings with software engineers, developers, whatever, try and be a part of those triage meetings so that you can communicate the gravity of what the customers are experiencing. Volunteer for things. Again, it just all goes back to that. This one is for my aspiring techies. It's a come to Barbie moment, okay? Like, let's have a one-to-one. Let's talk. Let's discuss. I need you guys to stop coming into my DMs with, hey, Bobby, do you have any general advice on, okay, and before you get mad, please don't block me. Please don't be mad at me. I'm literally saying this from a place of love. That question is a waste of both our times. It's not helpful to you. Because I could literally tell you anything. I could literally be like, oh, just remember to always put customer service first. What has that done? Here's the way I phrased my questions, because one thing I did was definitely ask a lot of people lots of questions. Hi, my name is Barbie. I've been in finance for 3 years. I've achieved this, that. You know, I've been doing pretty well for myself, but ultimately I am looking to transition into tech because I don't know. I love coding, said no one ever. Now I see that you achieved this thing and I really want to achieve it too. These are my specific goals and my specific questions. Number 1, what books would you recommend? Number 2, are there any mentorship programs? Number 3, what are the specific steps that you took to Number 4, do you have any interview tips for a data product manager role? Right? Do you see where this is going? You can do better than that. Okay. I love you. When I first started out in my career in finance, I had this one white man who was like my sponsor at work, and he would always support me and just like have my back if there was any weird disagreements. I really gravitated towards this man. He would try to give me advice, sometimes unsolicited, sometimes stuff that I already knew, because one thing about me, I always had this, in Italian we call it grinta, like I always had this hunger and fire in me for whatever it was that I was doing, right? And so ultimately, this man took me under his wing, I guess. And one night he asked me to stay late at work because he was a senior executive at the office, so he could do that, right? I was at work, I was doing all the things that I needed to do. And this man comes over and grabs my, yeah. That is just one of many awkward interactions that I've had at the office. So it really like grinds my gears to hear some Black women on this app talk about how you should go out there and actively find a white male sponsor, because as much as I do agree that white men have a lot of audacity, leeway and privilege in the workplace and in the world, and they basically maneuver their lives and steer their lives in that way as people with privilege, I don't think that it benefits a Black woman to actively seek out, first of all, a man. The truth is, you're not a white man. You will never be a white man, and you will never navigate the world in which a white man would navigate the world. A white man cannot teach me how to navigate those things and still come out on top. So if you're a Black woman looking for a mentor, do you know who you actually should go out there and actively seek out? You guessed it, a Black woman.
And that's the real story behind juggling 2 full-time jobs. Do you think you can pull it off? Or does the double hustle sound like too much? Let me know in the comments if you've ever liked to try it or if it's just way too risky for you. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any more deep dives into life hacks, side hustles, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next video.